Hey, everybody, I'm Jane.
And I'm Sarah.
And you're listening to the Medium Curious Podcast, the show that brings you people who actually came to the earth as comets because they were so bright. And then they became people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we have one of those on today.
That's right.
I know. We have on Jen Butler. She is a screenwriter and the author of Volume Control, a guidebook for highly sensitive people in a loud, spiky world.
And she's an amazing content creator, huge followings on the Insta and the TikTok. And she's just such a ridiculous delight, y'all. I'm so happy that you get to listen to her talk.
Yeah. Let's stop talking so we can go listen to her.
Let's listen to her talk instead of us. Okay, here we go.
Hey, Jen. Welcome. We're so glad to have you with us today.
Hi.
You are a time traveler.
Jump right in. Yes. I think we all are, but yes,
I agree.
You're also an author, a screenwriter, an actor, a comedian, and you're basically really creative and cool. How did you get so cool?
How'd you do that?
I had two things that pop in my head. One was like, I was born this way. The other was trauma. But,
well, yes and yes.
Yeah.
God bless us all.
Right. I got sober almost 12 years ago. And that to me was a really big transformation moment for me, because before that, there was so much performing. So I've always been a performer and like the comedian, and I can feel the energy in a room and adjust myself as needed. And getting sober, though, made everything so loud. And so I had to turn the performer off for quite a while and work through my different parts and work through the trauma and work through any of the behaviors that were really icky, that were obviously coping strategies and stuff, but I just didn't like how I showed up. And so a lot of work actually is how I've gotten this cool.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Bad puppy. Oh, I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. It's just epic amounts of work. And I love that you open with sobriety, because we in our little pregame chats, I said as much that several of us here do not drink. I guess that's all of us.
All of us.
All of us.
Yeah.
The three of us do not drink. And I've been on this path for 17 years myself. Nice. I know.
I'm the newbie. I'm 4 this January.
You're 4 already.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Wow. Yeah. It is a miracle in every way. And you had mentioned that there was some craziness that occurred spiritually when you first got sober. I know that's kind of jumping right in the deep end, but here we are. Would you be open to telling us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So when I first got sober, so I had lots of different synchronicities trying to get me sober, and none of those worked. So then the universe sent me a poet with a man bun who was sober. And so naturally I was like, I need to be sober to get him to like me, obviously. And now when I look back and like see all of the huge signs, is like the universe was dancing and was like, sobriety. And I was just like, no. And they were like, cute guy with a man bun. And I'm like, yes, I'm in. I am sober immediately.
Oh my God.
So I know they say to get sober for yourself, but I got sober for a cute boy and then I stayed sober for myself. So, whatever works.
Yeah, whatever works.
So you said I forget how you worded it, but some weird stuff happened when I got sober. There's lots of aspects on the emotional side, the mental side, and then also like the psychic side. So I don't know what information you're looking for specifically.
Well, you mentioned there was kind of like some crazy, how did you say it? It was like, you were seeing ghosts, or you had like some kind of spiritual chaos.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So when my flavor of addiction, there's a handful of them, but mostly it was anything that would numb. So alcohol, pain pills. And I was very, very high functioning. I worked full time and was in school full time with a 4.0 GPA. And so no one really knew, but I now know, self-medicating in order to turn down the volume that has always been so loud for me. So removing the different things that numbed me meant that psychically I opened wide open. And before this, I was atheist or agnostic, which is essentially atheist light. So I was atheist light. I didn't believe in any of the stuff. Like I thought, oh, there's probably people out there that can talk to ghosts and whatnot, but I'm not one of them. So I started working with a spiritual mentor because I think it was through a series of little baby synchronicities through writing for the stage. And I interviewed someone to help them write something. And they mentioned Reiki. And I wrote down, I remember Rakey. I was like, oh, Reiki. I need to look up. What do you rake? I don't know. And she wanted to introduce me to her Reiki master, like her raking master. So I was like, this sounds important. So I got to meet with that person, had my first Reiki session, which is Reiki, in case the listeners don't know. And it's a form of energy work. And that was my first sort of foray into that world. And I started working with that spiritual mentor, and I was just wide open. And I've always dealt with suicidality and a lot of darkness and depression, and really haven't particularly enjoyed being human. And so the types of spirits and ghosts and whatnot that I was attracting, because of where I was in my life, the vibration or whatever you want to say, I wasn't attracting like Casper. You know, it wasn't like this cutesy little ghost that wanted to dance with me until midnight. I was attracting some of the most terrifying stuff that I've ever seen. Wild. So mostly it was people who had either been murdered or had killed themselves. And it wasn't just them in their death state. A lot of them, like, as time went on and they're stuck wherever they're stuck, they looked very terrifying. So I was already terrified to just be alive, and without the numbing of pills and alcohol, everything was so loud. I was like a raw exposed nerve. And then I remember one day opening my front door, trying to dare to leave the house, because that was tough to do too, because I just felt so much from everyone. And I just saw this line of ghosts out the front, like in my front yard, all the way down the street. They just wanted to come talk to me. They were just like, oh, she gets it. Let's talk to her. And I was just so overwhelmed. I had no idea how to do any sort of energetic boundaries. And it was scary and it sucked.
Yeah.
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah, it was really scary.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
And you stayed sober through that.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'd be like, glug, 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 glug. Oh, geez.
Let's go back to one. Yeah.
Yeah. I did stay sober, but I was with the poet with a man bun. So obviously I had to keep him as my boyfriend. So that worked out well.
That's true love. I gotta say.
God bless the man bun.
I know, right? You had a great jawline too.
So obviously you're here now.
Yeah.
And you're delightful and you're like shiny, shiny, shiny and bright, bright, bright. You even wrote a book about volume control. So you learned how to implement those energetic boundaries. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So I shared that there was a lot of darkness and I was really struggling. And when I say darkness, I'm talking about emotionally, mentally, I mean, even physically, it just all life felt so heavy, and it felt like I was just dragging so much behind me, not only my own, but other people's stuff too. My parents, my grandparents, so generational, but beyond that, because I was just so wide open that I just absorbed everyone's shit. And so not only was I attracting the scary spiritual folks who had yet to properly cross over, I also attracted, and I don't know if it's okay to talk about this, some people get weird about it, but demons. So I don't know if that's okay to talk about. Some people get really weird about it.
No,
okay,
I mean,
cool.
I want to hear, because I mean, it's all fascinating because I just haven't met them.
So a lot of the like demonic presences and stuff too. So of course I'm absolutely terrified. Going to bed at night, I was scary. I would have, spirits poking at me, and it was awful.
That sounds awful.
It really sucked.
That sounds really awful.
Talking with my spiritual mentor, and I remember trying to share this with her, and she was like, oh, we don't talk about Bruno. Like, we don't talk about it. If you talk about it, it attracts it to you. And so I got Can I cuss?
Yes.
Do we cuss? Oh, okay. God.
Cussing mediums. Cheers.
Fuck yeah. That needs to be a shirt. Make that a shirt. So yeah, she was very afraid to talk about the topic or anything dark, whether it was the spirits, the ghosts that was attracting to me, or these different demonic presences. And so what that did is it amplified my fear of what I was experiencing. Right. And then I wasn't allowed to talk about it. And that's what's fucked. That's where we get fucked.
Yeah.
Whether it's in the spiritual realm or emotional stuff, like me sharing that I've dealt with suicidality my whole life. So many people are afraid to say that out loud, and rightfully so, because other folks are like, whoa, we don't talk about that.
Yeah.
So for the longest time, I was trying to just push all of this stuff away. And I did start helping the spirits crossover. And I remember a very, very specific moment in my recovery journey and my spiritual journey was I remember walking through where I lived and I would feel these beings following me. And I was so afraid. I remember showering. I would be afraid to close my eyes when showering. So I was like washing my face with one eye open and then I'd close the other eye because I was so afraid to close my eyes. I never turned the lights off. I was terrified. And just one day I was like, I stopped and I turned around and I faced it. Like I genuinely physically turned around and faced it. And I said, though I don't know how much I meant it, I'm not afraid of you. And right, who knows? Was I talking to an aspect of self? Was I talking to the darkness within me that I was so afraid of my whole life? Was it a demonic presence? Was it a spirit? I can't really tell you. It's hard to know. But in that moment, it was taking ownership of whatever it is in me that's able to hold or even attract this darkness. For the longest time, I was trying to run away from it. Alcohol, pain pills, trying to run away from or numb the depression, the suicidality, feeling all the suffering and the pain and everything around me. And then getting sober, the numbing is gone. I'm attracting all this. And I align with a spiritual mentor who's like, oh, you just shouldn't talk about it. Don't think about it. So it just perpetuated that same pattern of
fear.
Oh, it's fear. Yeah. I'm broken. I'm fucked up.
It's my fault.
It's my fault.
Shame.
Shame. And that's the cycle that we get stuck in that can get really, really dangerous.
Yeah.
So over time, through a lot of research, and I moved on to get my Reiki certification, and so I'm a certified Reiki master. So that's cool. But I learned more about energy, learned more about setting boundaries. And I know that's like a phrase that's just thrown around so much now, like energetic boundary, but what does that actually mean? For me, at first, it was a lot of the bells and whistles of like the salt and the sage and the whatever, the singing bowl, totally. Playing music through that was like high vibrational house clearing music. It was going around the stage and going, only peace, light, and love may remain, right? And all that works and is great. But now I'm able to clear my space, like that.
Right.
That was a snap if no one could hear it. I don't know if it goes through the snap. Yeah. And that is all, it was all learned through experience. It's learned through, of course, research. There were different books that I read. There were different practitioners that I worked with. And ultimately it really came down to me learning how to get more and more comfortable within my body and within myself. Learning how to regulate my own nervous system, learning how to feel safe within myself, no matter what's going on out here, whether it's other people's feelings, someone's, a live person is mad, or it's someone who's dead and mad, or whatever it is going on out there. I need to learn how to feel safe within myself. And that took a really long time.
That's a big journey.
Been key. Yeah.
Right. That's so cool. I literally was just telling someone this week who was asking about, salt and all that. And I was like, yes. And I was like, it's yes, use it. And it feels good. And you ring the bell and you're like, whew, but you can also just, I like the snap, but it's an intention basically.
Yep.
And so I love that journey of that, because it's like, yes, and that, and yes, and, but all of it works in my estimation as well. So I love that.
Yeah, I think it's like exercise or muscles of any kind. You know, at first to, I don't know, get really fit, you might be doing lots of different exercises, but then it gets to a point of maintenance. And so you can do less. And at first, I really did believe I needed all these external things in order to be and feel safe. But then once I learned what it felt like to feel safe, I was able to, again, trust myself more and find what worked for me. And through a lot of practice, a lot of trust, a lot of times of distrust of like, am I a crazy person for thinking these things, for experiencing these things? And then coming back to myself and being like, this is true to me. This is what I'm experiencing right now. And getting more and more comfortable with what works for me. It might not work for everyone else, but I can feel when something is off. And I also know that my house is a sacred space that nothing can get into, which is great because 10 years ago, that was not the case.
Yeah.
Right.
But I had to build up that muscle for sure. And the trust within myself.
Yeah, it's kind of like you template it at a certain point. Like I like that idea of, you know, you build it up with the muscles and then at a certain point you have capacity, right? It's just like and it's kind of one day to the next. It was for me anyway, where I was like, the salt baths,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And they're delightful. Nothing wrong.
And I still use sage, right? Like if I hang out with someone and I'll come home and my boyfriend will look at me and he's like, sage. And I'm like, oh, sage it up, baby. And so I'm just like, oh my God. And what's funny is when I first started dating him, he's not the man bun, by the way. I've moved on from man bun for 8+ years. I've been with this wonderful person who's also sober, and he's grounding force, an incredible person. And at first he thought that sage and any of that was just woo-woo stuff, the new age shit. And then now he'll come back from hanging out with family or doing something stressful. And he's like, will you please sage me? I'm like, yes, I will.
I love that.
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. You said, yeah, we don't talk about that. I think the spiritual world can do a real disservice by telling people that their experiences aren't real. Like we're not talking about that, therefore it doesn't exist. And it certainly shouldn't exist for you, but you're talking about it. So don't talk about it. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I see it. I see it all around me. Like, nope, we don't talk about negative spirits. We don't talk about demons. We don't talk about, and if you don't talk about it, it doesn't exist.
Yep. A lot of the spiritual bypassing, same sort of thing around, at least in the recovery world, I experienced this, and also in the metaphysical community in Atlanta. For a long time, there was all this stuff about, anger being bad and having negative versus positive emotions, high vibration versus low vibration. And I'm like, dude, it's just emotions and we're going to feel all of them. And what I found was the worst for me is when I was feeling angry about something and then going, oh no, this is low vibrational. Right. I need to shove this down. I need to transmute it into compassion. But then I never let myself actually process and release this anger. And that's been a big part of it too, is me learning how to open and expand in order to fully feel all of the sensations with being human without the numbing. And so that's the anger, that's the depression, that's the highs and the lows without, for me, applying negative or positive. It's simply the human experience.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's part of what I love about your online presence, for example, is that you are talking really openly about this material, and that I think it's such a service. And I think that's part of, your humor and charm and sparkle is all very much a part of it too. But like, you're telling the truth and you're telling it without that extra noise of unacceptable, acceptable. And so I think that's what's so refreshing. And that's why everyone's like, more, please. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear your experiences, because we have as you were talking, I had this image of like, each emotion, well, I'll just share, I'm in grief right now. And so I keep feeling it like waves. And it's like the same with the anger wave or the despair wave or whatever. And like shortchanging that is where the stuckness comes. And so I don't know. These are all just coming to me as you're talking, like how do you find the space and time to like get the wave fully released, or you know what I mean? Like, do you have practices that help you make sure that you move it all the way through, or?
Yeah, at first it was very challenging for me, especially around suicidality, because I was so afraid of depression. I was afraid I was going to drown. I was afraid I was going to get lost. I was afraid I was going to blow up my entire life or leave Earth. And a lot of it, pretty much all of it, has come down to sitting in stillness and not reacting to the feelings and then bringing it back to my body. I remember learning that feelings take place in your body. And I was like, no, they fucking don't. I think them. They're in my noggin. They're in my mind grapes. Yeah. But when I learned that of like, what does the anger feel like? Oh, I feel it in my chest. I'm going to breathe into it. I'm going to allow it. And then same with thoughts. And it came to really scary thoughts or any of it, sitting still and allowing them to exist and then not reacting was incredibly challenging and exhausting at first. I mean, like very taxing on the nervous system, because those feelings and thoughts used to be interpreted or classified in my sweet brain as danger, threat. We shouldn't feel these. We shouldn't think this. And so by sitting still and allowing that to come up, and I'm feeling it and I'm thinking it and I'm not doing anything to numb it or distract myself, then of course my system is going to be like alarm, 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 alarm. But over time, the alarms got quieter, and then now the alarms no longer happen. And I'm so much more in tune with like my actual feelings and the sensations in my body and the thoughts. And I was very into meditation for a long time, and I still am, but I originally thought meditation meant you have to have a silent mind. Like you sit down and you fucking...
Good luck with that one.
Levitate. God, that really made both of you laugh a lot.
Because I was just sitting there meditating this morning, and it was anything but like a quiet mind. Just making myself laugh. So not quiet.
Do you hear people say that though? A lot of times when I talk about meditation, they're like, oh, I can't meditate. My mind never shuts up. And I'm like, rip off glasses. Like, let's discuss this for a second. Meditation is not quieting your mind. Meditation is being still even with the thoughts happening and then not reacting to them. That is like the most important muscle we can build in this life.
Okay,
it's so
say
yummy.
that again, because that is so important.
Meditation does not mean having a silent mind. That can happen sometimes, and it's so yummy and delicious.
It's delightful, yeah.
It's so delightful. Meditation is sitting still when the thoughts and the feelings are happening, allowing them to exist, witnessing them, and not reacting to them. That is the biggest muscle, or the most important muscle that we can build throughout our life, is sitting still in the discomfort.
That's rad. It's that separation. I think that's, or at least that's been the gift of meditation for me, is that just a little bit of the witnesser. What is it called? The observer, like just being able to observe and be compassionate for. A lot of times I kind of break it out into the sort of like little self's fired up, little self is like cruising on freak out. And it's just like, can I have like a little bit of separation, a little bit of compassion for.
And non-judgment.
Yeah. Because when you're saying it, I'm like, damn, how do you not react? Like that to me sounds like a very advanced. You know what I mean? Because I think I'm still reacting internally to the reaction. If that makes sense.
Yeah, there was a lot of reacting though, and then me going, wait, I don't like the way that turned out. Right. So it's not just like I was like, one day I'm going to sit still in discomfort and never, ever react ever again.
Right. Okay.
False. It was, I'm now able to do that now. And it's not like 100%, right? You got PMS that comes along and I'm just ready to blow shit up.
Yeah.
Right. So on those days, I might be more reactive to the thoughts and feelings that I have. But I So the book Volume Control, I want to talk a little bit about that because it definitely ties into this. I realized how reactive I was, and how whenever big feelings were happening for me, I expected the world to revolve around me. I expected everyone in my life to take care of me. And I really, really lived in and enjoyed living in victimhood. I didn't know that was the energy I was in, but it's like this black hole of no external love is ever going to be enough to fill me.
Yeah.
And I realized I felt like I had these two very different sides of me. The part of me that was very spiritually full, that was emotionally not reacting, and like I was grounded and, oh, wow, this is great. I want to be like this always, which is unrealistic. But then the other half was when I was panicked or activated, which is a fancy word for saying triggered, emotionally triggered. And or my little self is freaking out or whatever it is. And then I would genuinely feel like it was these two almost severed parts of myself. So I started writing down what I was experiencing when I was in the activated state. And I was asking questions of future Jen for whenever I grounded back out and was no longer reacting. And then future Jen would respond, ask more questions. And over the course of 6 years, I created Volume Control, which the book is a guidebook. It's tips and tricks, and it's all about emotional regulation. Whether, on the 1 through 10 scale, I joke that I live on 0 to 11. Like I have that full range, right?
Yeah.
And in any one of those, if I feel them big enough, I can do some damage in my life. I can make some not great decisions. And so learning how to be still in that discomfort, very important. And one of the ways I learned how to do that is the times I wasn't still in the discomfort, the times that I did react, I really was very honest over the 6 years as I'm writing this all down of like, here's what I did during this moment. Here's how I was feeling. Here's how I felt after. And that gave me data to go and look back at. And I'm like, okay, I now realize that this is not the approach to take whenever I'm feeling really sad and depressed. It's not the best to reach out to a person in my life who's always a fun sponge, and I never feel good after talking with them. Why am I reaching out to them? Why am I reaching out to that person? So I caught these different behaviors where I'm like, what? And just really worked hard to rewrite them and retrain myself. And it's been, a decade plus of retraining to become just the absolute badass that I am now. Isn't that neat?
Oh, yeah.
Neat.
You answered my question. How are you so cool? That awareness, though, it's that awareness that is so, it's just everything. It is everything. Like if everyone, is that a starfish ring that you have? Sorry. Squirrel.
Oh, this actually is a sloth, and he's on my middle finger, so I can flip people off like in a super chill way.
In a super
We're
cute
really relaxed.
way.
Yeah. And then I got a spoon ring over here.
Oh, cute.
sorry.
I love the sloth. Shiny object, legitimately a shiny object.
There's that template that you use where you are mapping out how am I going to get through this, but you're visualizing it from the observer, from the witness. So you kind of are able to separate it a little bit. And I think that's so helpful to the rest of us.
Well, okay. So pick me. So time travel.
Yes, Jane.
Thank you. This was actually how I fell in love with you, I guess years ago. I've been following you for a while, but I found this post that you put up where you talk about traveling back, I'm just going to set that up enough to say, Jen, please tell us that story, because we will of course link it, but mind blown.
I would love to.
Yeah.
I would love to. So during the earlier parts of sobriety, as I was dealing with so much of this just emotional turmoil, and I didn't understand it because it wasn't matching what was happening in the present moment. Like I'd be going through my day doing my work thing and my school thing and just feeling like I was screaming inside and dying inside and wanted to die. And it was awful. It was just absolute torture. And what's wild is to think of how many people are genuinely struggling that way, but you can't tell because we all can just smile on the outside. Yeah. So I would get home and lay on the floor and writhe in that emotional and psychic pain where I would wail, which is wild that none of my neighbors ever called the cops. And this is how I know that people can get away with murder, because if there's like loud screaming, it's just like, they're just like, I don't know, they're watching The Bachelor or something. So never, with all of my loud screaming, and I'm a theater kid, I can scream. None of my loud screaming did anyone ever call the cops. But one night in specific, I remember I was in my kitchen and I had just done one of my favorite forms of numbing myself, which was punching myself in the head. So that was, I now realize, would release oxytocin, and it would, it was a way that I was numbing beyond drugs. It was using self-harm in a way that no one else could see, right? I could just walk in the other room and do a quick head punch and then come right back. And I'm like, oh, I feel fucking great. Listeners, don't do that. That's not, the takeaway is not go punch yourself in the head. This was a moment where I was in so much pain that my body was looking for any sort of out. If alcohol's not it and pain pills aren't it, okay. So I'm hitting myself in the head and I'm on the floor with my back up against the cupboard, and I'm just screaming and crying, and I'm just saying, help me, someone please help me. I just felt so alone. And I felt this presence in front of me, and it wasn't a negative presence. It felt very, very positive. It felt very warm. And of course, immediately I was like, this is my soulmate. Like, this is a guy. And it's one day we're going to talk about this moment and how he was in Europe and, connected with me when I was in Canton, Georgia, on the floor of my 575 square foot apartment. And we connected in our souls. And so truly in that moment, like through tears, through weeping, I'm like, oh, yay, it's a man here to save me. And this being comes down to me and hugs me. And so I hug back and I'm held, and I felt like I'm going to be okay. And a handful of years later, I forget how many, I was doing, I believe it was a meditation. And I was feeling into different feelings that were coming up, right? Because a lot of times we have feelings come up in the moment that actually remind our body of something that happened a long time ago, which is why when you first get sober, or you first start doing this work, it can feel like so much work. It's like emotional debt to our past selves. So I was sitting there feeling into a feeling, and it brought up this memory of me in my apartment wailing and screaming. And I plopped this present day me, not this present day me, but a handful of years ago, plopped into the kitchen. And I look down and I see this darling Jen who's just wailing and crying and saying, help me, someone please help me. And I felt such compassion for her and such warmth and such love. And I didn't even know what I was doing. I just went up and I hugged her. Oh. And so in that moment it clicked. Oh my God, it was me. It was me that hugged me.
Oh, that makes me want to cry. Yeah. That's so good.
And so it was my soulmate, just in a different way.
Yeah. The soulmate that matters.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And I've had a handful of other experiences like that. And now that I know it's a thing, there are so many times that I'm like, future Jen, I need to talk with you.
Yes.
Help. And then I can feel her presence. And I've had many different loops complete.
Wow.
Yeah. Time traveler.
Well,
yeah.
That's so crazy, because I did a reading the other day and they asked a really tough question about what should I do? What should I do? And I was like, well, let's invite your future self to come in, drop the mic, to come in. And I mean, I didn't even facilitate it. I was like, this is your assignment. You're going to sit and ask your future self to come in and advise you. Because I wasn't thinking, I was more intellectual about it. Like I was thinking, or I was talking to spirit, whatever. I wasn't thinking, it wasn't Jane. But the idea that I understood was I wanted you to visit your future self so your future self could look back and feel proud of how you behaved. So what you're saying is kind of a richer, more emotionally delicious loop. But that was kind of a cool idea when it came in, you know, and I take notes in my readings because, again, it's not me. I was like, that's a damn good idea. It's like you're up against something that feels impossible. What's the right move? What's the right move? It's like, well, let's check with future Jane. And she's like, dude, don't do that. You know, or whatever, right? Like, so that's super, super cool. Okay, well, since I'm bringing your posts to life a little bit here, I want to ask you about another one that you put up a post about reincarnation and how it relates to animals. And I wonder if you can tell us a little bit about that one.
Yes, I would love to. So the story began when I was 2 years old. I saw a horse for the first time, and I was like, you know, in whatever language I could use at that time, I want a pony. And, you know, every little kid goes through the phase of I want a pony, but I took it very seriously. Yeah. And so until the age of 11, I saved up every penny possible. I mean, I remember I had different business ideas, of course, the lemonade stand, but I also was like, I will do portraits of your Beanie Babies, you know, in pastels. Brilliant. Brilliant business model.
Oh, yeah. I need one of those. Do you have any of those kicking around still? I want one.
I bet my mom does. What's funny is I have done for a couple of years, I did professional pet portraits in my adult life. So it's like, I had that skill set back then. Yes. It was Beanie Babies. Yeah. I bet they were way better back then too. They were probably just so profound. So I saved up lots of money for birthdays. I asked for money. So by the time I was 11, I had almost $5,000 saved up.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm ready to buy a horsey. Like I'm ready for it. And my only thing was I didn't want a white horse because horses love to roll in mud and manure, and they love to get filthy and dirty. And also they can't scratch their backs. So they like to roll in order to scratch their backs. If you have a black horse or a bay horse, which is brown, you can't see the dirt. So if you're going to a horse show, you just kind of like brush them off, good to go. If you have a white horse, you're going to see the big old turd stain on their flank. I wanted to wait until you were taking a sip. I was like, oh yeah, turd stain. That's what I need to say right now.
I almost sprayed the mic, but I survived it.
And I ended up, and what I really wanted was a chestnut horse, which is like this really pretty deep orange color, either bay or a chestnut. That was my one thing. And so naturally I fell in love with a flea-bitten gray horse, which is white with little polka dots on him, named Chance. And I bought him with my money, which is pretty amazing. Now I look back at it because I have an 11-year-old bonus daughter now. And I'm like, can you imagine her having $5,000 and being like, hello, family, I am ready to discuss the purchase of my horse. I have saved.
Seriously, that's incredible.
Yeah. It's pretty freaking amazing. So I got Chance, and we had, of course, a wonderful life together. And he loved to roll in red Georgia clay. It's like he knew that I wanted him to be that orange color.
You manifested that, yeah.
I manifested that, yeah. Which was really convenient, like 4 a.m. waking up for horse shows, where he's like, look, mommy. And I'm like, oh, shit. I was too young to say shit then, but you get it. So I had him until I was 25. And when I was 25, they saw that they being the wonderful barn manager, Carolyn, saw that he had like a lump on the side of his mouth. It looked like it was coming from inside of his mouth. And I just thought it was like a tooth or some sort of issue. And we got the vet out there, and they biopsied it and discovered that it was cancer. And they sent him to Auburn University. They were really wonderful there. And he had some flavor of cancer. They weren't sure if it started as malignant melanoma or something else. What's wild is I survived malignant melanoma before that. So there could be something related there. Wow. But I did animal communication for a lot of years. And a lot of times health issues are mirrored and emotional issues are mirrored in animals. So there was always part of me that was like, did he did he die from the thing that I survived? Which of course made me very sad. So I've just been like, no, unrelated. He had his own journey. So yeah, the cancer had infiltrated his jawbone, and they came up with all these ideas of, we could get him like a bionic jaw, right? We'll remove all the cancer and give it. And it was just awful. Like the recovery from it sounded horrible. And I was like, no. And we decided to say goodbye to him and have him euthanized and donate his body to the education system at Auburn University, because my thought was what they learned could save another little girl's pony one day. And we had one last really wonderful day together. By the way, people who are listening that get really activated by the thought of animals dying, this does have a happy ending, believe it or not. So stick with us. So I just think of like when I'm watching a movie and I'm like, something's going to happen to the dog. I can't watch it anymore.
Goodbye. Turning it off. Yeah.
Goodbye. Yeah. Turn it to the Great British Baking Show.
That's my answer too.
Absolutely. So on the day before his last day, I gave him a bath suit. He was just beautiful, beautiful white. And then over the night he rolled, of course. So he's dirty as can be. And we have our final day together, which was a really beautiful day. And we said goodbye. And I later discovered that the cancer actually had spread down into his throat, into his lungs, and into his stomach. So they were saying that within a week it would have been very uncomfortable for him. So we did the right thing by letting him leave before it got that bad. So it sucked. I mean, I was still drinking at this time, and it really kicked my ass. And I really fell into alcoholism and using anything I could to numb, because it's more than just an animal. I mean, he was with me through all the teenage years, and which is hell in so many ways, and through the cancer that I went through, and through so many ups and downs, and he was always there. So to not have a 1,500-pound presence in my life anymore, it just really knocked me on my ass. So a handful of years later, here comes poet with a man bun, aforementioned poet with man bun. I get sober. And I remember one night I had a dream, and in the dream, Chance came to me. His name was Chance. Did I say that at any point?
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. Thanks. So Chance comes to me in a dream, and he says, I've reincarnated as a dog. And mind you, this is when I was still in my agnostic, atheist lite mindset, right? So I was like, okay, like, these are my neurons coming back online after like killing them with alcohol and pain pills for so many years. But in the dream, he says, I've reincarnated as a dog. I'm an 8-week-old male puppy. I'm orange. Of course, he's orange, a beautiful chestnut color. And I'm at PetSmart. So I wake up the next day.
So good. It's
so good.
I
wake up the next day and I tell Poet with Man Bun. And I was like, isn't that just like so crazy? And he's like, yeah, but we should go and check. Like, why shouldn't we check? We should go.
Yep.
So as we're driving, now this is back again, I was living in a 575 square foot apartment. I was living off of pretty much credit cards at this point in time. And I had no right getting, I was not in a place to get a dog. I had no interest in getting a dog, but I'm going to follow this intuition. And while we're driving, I silently in my head was like, to whom it may concern.
I'm going to use that from now on. I like that.
We don't really know what's out there. So to whom it may concern, if this is real and my horse reincarnated, then there's enough magic for me to be able to communicate with you and tell you that you need to get the price down, because I know that adopting a dog is expensive. So if you want to prove to me that this is real, you get that price down. And then I heard, I felt like a sense of confirmation. I don't know that I knew it was confirmation, but I felt something. And then I also very clearly knew, and I don't remember if it was told to me during the dream or if it was during this car ride conversation, that the puppy would be the last one there. And so, we're driving to PetSmart and I'm like, 8-week-old male puppy. That's very normal to find at PetSmart. This isn't that special. But whatever, we're going. So we show up, they've got all the the crates and whatnot out front. And the lady's starting to break down some of the crates, and they're all empty except for one. So I walk up to this crate, and in there was an 8-week-old orange male puppy and an 8-week-old black puppy. So I was like, well, not the last one. So it doesn't count. And then this lady comes up and picks up black puppy to take away. And then she says, that one's yours, pointing at the orange puppy. Now, I would not touch the orange puppy because I know as soon as I get a little whiff of that puppy breath, we're done for.
Yep.
Done.
Whether it's chance or not, I will end up with this dog. So Poet with Man Bun is petting him and he's like, oh, he's so cute. And I'm like, I don't know about this. I'm still a little suspicious. This little kid and his dad walk out of the store and they're walking past the little, I say crate, I don't even know it's like a puppy pen.
Yeah.
You know how they have the puppies in those? So the top is open. So you can reach in and give them little scritchies. They can nibble on your fingers, all good things. And this little boy and his dad come up. The little boy is petting 8-week-old orange male puppy. Dad keeps going. And then he turns around and goes, Chance, let's go. Chance.
Oh,
the little boy's name was Chance. And I'm like, holy shit. I remember being like, life is a lot more magical than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Like, this is wild.
What?
So at this point, I'm like, I'm willing to pick up the puppy, pet, cute little smushy puppy. And the woman working came up to me and she's like, listen, we had 23 dogs. He's the last one left, which how the fuck was this cutie patootie the last one left? Okay. Why didn't someone else get him? Well, I know why, but still I was like, that's pretty bizarre. The puppies normally go first.
Yeah.
Also, what a great adoption day. 23 dogs.
Seriously.
I mean, good job. So she's like, listen, I've got to pack up and leave. If you want to go ahead and get him, I can knock $50 off.
Woo!
And so she hands me her card because she's pretty much saying like, hey, we can talk about this later, but if you want to get him now, it's $50 off. Her name is Jennifer. My name is Jennifer. At this point, I give her the fucking credit card because I'm like, all right, well, it all happened. It all came true. And her name is Jennifer. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm getting a dog.
Wow.
And so, got a puppy, named him Floyd, and he likes to wear pink collars. So he's Pink Floyd. He is orange. And there's so much that the two of them have in common. Like Chance, we used to play tag where he would, whenever I'd call him in the pasture, he would come trotting up to me, and then I would slap him on the butt and run away, and he would trot after me, and then he would, nibble my butt, and I'd turn around and would chase after him. And of course, he loved apples and carrots. And Floyd now will also play tag with me, and he also loves apples and carrots. And I remember Chance had this mysterious squiggly scar on his back right hock, which is like back right, essentially their knee, their back right leg. And we never knew where it came from, but even on his paperwork, it says like for different markings, it's like squiggle, scar, back right leg. So when I first got Floyd the puppy, and this is one of my points with reincarnation of how we're working through whether it's like karmic debt or something, an echo of our past lives. When I got the puppy home, it turns out he had kennel cough. So he had, he was coughing a lot and had issues in his lungs and his throat.
Yeah.
And then he also had worms. And I understand that this can be somewhat typical. I mean, ideally when you're adopting a pet, they don't have any of this stuff, but it still was wild to me that he had worms in his tummy. So he had tummy issues and he had issues in his lungs and was coughing a lot, all of which matches where the cancer was whenever Chance died. So to me, that was pretty resonant. In the moment it wasn't, but looking back later, once I learned more about past life regression and past life healing and work, I was like, holy shirt balls. Like he died from cancer and then is born and starts his life with an echo of those issues, heals them, and then ideally is able to move forward without issues. And then when he was 2 years old, he tore his doggy version of an ACL in his back right leg, and he had surgery. And that dog has a squiggly scar in his back right leg.
Wow.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. So many things. So one thing that's true is we are starting to run out of time / we're out of time. But here's the thing. I feel like I've been like my agenda. I'm just curious because I know, well, this book is amazing. I own it. It's beautiful. It's literally like a guidebook for those of us. And I think our listeners can probably relate of being so sensitive and needing to both identify and have tools for how to handle a particular brand of like moment.
Yeah.
So it's really great. It literally is like a resource is how it feels to me. And so I would definitely recommend everyone pick that up. Now is good. And then the other thing, I'm just wondering if there's anything else outside of your socials, which are gorgeous, that you want to talk about or, bring to our listeners before we close, because I want to give you the floor for what you want to talk about.
I have a couple of meditations / talks that are available on Insight Timer. Those are free. There's one specifically for highly sensitive people who are pursuing their dreams and might deal with sensitivity around rejection. That's one of my real big passion projects is exposure therapy and learning how to do the uncomfortable thing. Mm-hmm. I would say, to check out my socials. And in the near future, I'll be starting long form content on YouTube. And now I have to because I said it out loud.
Nice.
With you all. Yeah. In order to do deeper dives into my experience, my strength, and my hope, because I'm realizing the more that I openly share, the hungrier people are to hear more because they're like, holy shit. No one's ever said this aloud to me before. This is how I felt. I didn't know that it could be put into words.
Yeah.
So it's helped me realize, oh my gosh, I'm not alone in this. And so the more that I share, the more of that communication gap I'm bridging for people.
You're so inspiring with how brave you are as a highly sensitive person, because that highly sensitive person bit is nothing
to sneeze at, boy.
Nothing to sneeze at. It's huge. And yet you're like, okay, I'm doing it. I'm going to confront it. Like back when those demons were coming at you, you turned around and looked them in the face. That's brave. That's brave. Yeah.
Especially doing content creation as a highly sensitive person. I remember when I first started, thank you. When I first started doing it, I had, 400 followers and did a video about being a highly sensitive content creator. And someone responded and said, you can't be highly sensitive and do content creation. There's no way.
Which is not a thing.
And I was like, says who, bitch? Right. But that's another part of that thing of the can't, or we need to keep our lives small because we feel so big and feel so deeply, but we can still have a really full life. We just might need a few more tools and a few more naps.
Yes. Yes, please.
A little bit of sage, some salt baths.
Sage and salt baths.
Some tea. Yeah. We need the things. All right. Well, Jen, this has just been unbelievably delightful. I just love you. I admire you. I'm so grateful for you. I just have lots of ridiculously positive things to say, and I will continue saying them. So thank you for bringing us you for our listeners.
Yes, thank you very much for having me and for holding space for the big topics and some of the scary topics, because hopefully by us normalizing those, it'll help relieve some folks of the shame that they carry for thinking that they're broken or wrong or alone, because being human's a lot. Okay?
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's the whole thing.
Brave to be here on this earth. So then when you're brave on top of brave, then that's freaking brave. So
So thank you for sharing you. It's so inspiring.
We'll see you again, I hope.
Bye.
Bye.
Very Soul is our sponsor for Medium Curious. Jane and I are both Very Soul mediums.
Oh, yes, we are. verysoul.com, y'all. Inspired by spirit, guided by love, and brought to life by mediums.